Bonjour. Today we're going to talk about the question, Quelle heure est-il? Quelle heure est-il? We're asking about the time. So, Quelle heure est-il? In French, we use this question to ask what time it is. And to answer, we use il est. We're going to use a number and then heure. So literally, if you wanted to translate this, it would be like, it is this number hours. So, Quelle heure est-il? Il est 2 heures. Il est 2 heures. Now here you'll notice that the number 2, deux, and then we have heure, which you've noticed as I've been talking that this H is silent. So really my word here starts with a vowel. Sometimes we have this, what we call a liaison, which is when sort of the last consonant of one word blends into the vowel of the second word. Il est 2 heures. So if I was going to tell you that it's 10 o'clock, I would say il est 10 heures. 10 heures. And so that sounds a little bit different than deux and dix. So that can be a little bit confusing as you get started learning time. So just pay attention to that. Quelle heure est-il? Il est 3 heures. Il est 3 heures. So you hear that liaison from the S in toi to the beginning of heure. And so my S takes on more of a Z sound, just like it did with deux and dix. There's a couple of exceptions where you can't just stick a number in there. And so we have il est midi. Il est midi when we want to talk about noon. Il est minuit. Il est minuit for midnight. And one more tiny little thing. We say il est une heure. Il est une heure. Instead of un, when you learn to count, you learned un, deux, trois. Here we're going to use une, the feminine form of one. Quelle heure est-il? If we need to tell you a number of minutes after the hour, we say il est, and then we say heure, and then we say the number for our minutes. In English, we can just say 4:15. In French, we can't do that. We have to say il est 4h15. Il est 4h15. And this hours cannot drop out. Quelle heure est-il? Il est 4h30. Il est 4h30. So 4:30, and you learned the number 30. Quelle heure est-il? Il est 4h45. 4h45, 4:45. Another way that you could say this, autrement dit, you could say, instead of il est 4h15, il est 4h15. If you know anybody who tells time by saying something like it's 4:04 or 4:04, that would be the equivalent in French. Instead of saying il est 4h30, you can say il est 4h30. 4h30, so and a half. So if you like saying 4:30. Il est 4h45. Il est 4h45. And here we want to say il est 5h moins le quart. So 5 hours minus, or 5 minus a quarter. So quarter till 5 is how we might say that in English. So I just want you to be aware of these other ways that that French people might say the time. So if we need to distinguish between AM and PM, we can say things like il est 8h du matin. Il est 8h du matin. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. Il est 3h de l'après-midi. 3h de l'après-midi, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Il est 7h du soir. 7h du soir. So 7 o'clock in the evening. And another way that French people and European people in general can distinguish between AM and PM is by using the 24-hour clock. And in English, we sometimes refer to this as military time because in the military, they use the 24-hour clock. This really avoids confusion because you don't have to specify AM or PM. And so basically to do that, you just want to add 12 to whatever number, if it's in the afternoon. So, il est 2h de l'après-midi, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Il est 14h. 14h. So it's used all over France. It's used in, for example, train stations. So here we have a train schedule. We're traveling from Lyon to Grenoble. These cities are in south eastern France. So if you wanted to leave Lyon and travel to Grenoble, you're going to look at this train schedule and look, you can leave at 9:20 in the morning. You can leave at 12:24, so 24 minutes after noon. You can also leave, where's my mouse? You can leave here at 16h20, 16h20. And so if you see this says, you see this 16, you're going to subtract 12 and get 4, and then you know that that's 4 p.m. or 4:20 p.m. And then here we have 17h31. So you have 17 and 31. So you're going to subtract 12 from your 17 and find out that that's actually 5:31 p.m. Okay, and then just a note about the abbreviations. If you're writing the time in numbers, here's, you know, obviously this is how we do this in English. And in French, you're just going to put a little H there to separate the hours from the minutes. Et c'est tout. Très bien.